Well, hello there. My name is Shandela, and I will be teaching you today the care and the basics of the violin. Now, this is very important. It's very important to know how to take care and how to maintain your violin. So I'm really excited. Are you? Okay. So the first thing and the first step is so important. Whenever you get your violin, make sure you never leave it inside the car, in the trunk of the car, and anywhere that's extremely hot, anywhere that's extremely cold. I know it can be tempting when you're in a rush, but it's very important because when you leave the violin in extreme temperatures, it can damage your violin. So yes, the violin is just that delicate where you don't want to leave it in the wrong temperature. So I highly recommend, let's say if you were traveling, put it inside your home and let it get a little warm room temperature, and then you bring it out, okay? Now the second thing is when you open your case. Yes, I know that basic, right? When you open your case, always make sure your case is flat, okay, the top facing up, not upside down, because when you open your case, you don't want to risk your violin falling out and it breaking. So it's very important once you get your case to open it correctly. So now I'm opening my case, and as you see, ta-da! And yes, that's my family that's in there. I take them everywhere I go. So here is my violin, and I'm going to show you the parts, okay? So the first thing I will start out with is the scroll. As you see here, the scroll is pretty cute, cool, unique piece. It's the top of the violin. I always tell my students, hey, if you want to remember the name of that, think about a squirrel's tail, right? So inside here is the peg box, okay? As you can see, that's where the pegs go inside, right? And this little nudge here is called the nut. Squirrel makes nut, right? You can always remember that. That's where your strings go inside, then over that, and down, so forth and so on. So let's move along. So as you heard earlier, I mentioned the pegs. These pegs is how you tune your violin strings. Very important, but also you have to be very careful not to twist those too tight because you don't want to pop your strings. You don't want to do that, okay? So here, this black thing you see here is called the fingerboard, okay? So the fingerboard, very self-explanatory, is where you place your fingers to play, okay? So it's really cool, really neat. Don't worry, I'm gonna walk you through everything and learning how to make beautiful sound. And okay, so also you do see your strings, right? These are your strings. And then here, as we go down, you see this brown wood piece. Now it does kind of look like a bridge, right? Well, that's what it's called. It's actually called a bridge. This is where the strings go across all the way down to these cool little knobs. And these here are called fine tuners. That is how we fine tune, just as it's called, our violin. So sometimes when you're up here and you're trying to tune it, you don't always necessarily have to twist it so far. You have these cool fine tuners. I'll show these to you again, okay? Now here you have what we call the F holes. Beautiful, they kind of look like the letter F, okay? Now that's where a lot of our beautiful sound that the violin makes come out of. Believe it or not, that's where the sound from the vibrations of the string it come out of. And inside, you can't see it from here, but of course you have a sound post that helps with that. And always is quite unique inside also is the date, usually like our violin's birthday is what I call it, what you could see. Now let's carry on and let's look here. This is the chin rest. Self-explanatory, that's where you rest your chin, and it helps you be a little more comfortable when you're playing, okay? Now this is just a little extra piece I have for when I do a plug-in. So here we have the end button, and I'll bring it in a little closer. The end button, very self-explanatory. It's just the end of the violin. They put that there to hold together like your tail piece here. It's kind of like a tail, right? So you have the C bowed. C bowed, it looks like the letter C, right? Upper bowed, lower bowed. And here, the back of the violin. I love the back of the violin. The back of the violin, believe it or not, I love the back of the violin, is where most violins show their character, okay? As you see, mine have cool, like what I call tiger stripes. And it's just a way that every violin, I guess, if you're wondering what, have their own character. Okay, and this is the neck of the violin too, as well. And so, basically, there you go, right? And so I will show you the next piece, which is very important, is the bow, okay? Here you have the bow. Quite awesome, right? So the bow is very important, right? You probably see people playing along, right? And this is what we use the bow. As you see, this is the hair of the bow. Make sure you do not touch it because our hands are oily, believe it or not. And what happens is when we touch the bow hair, it can get dirty, sticky, and grimy, and it can mess up the quality sound of your violin. So we don't ever touch the bow. You never grab it like this or let someone else grab it, okay? So this part is the tip of the bow, okay? And here is where the arch of it is, right? Which is very important for balancing. And you have your frog. Believe it or not, it's called a frog. I don't know why it doesn't quite look that much like a frog, maybe with the little circle here, but this is where you put your fingers, okay? And this is the winding. So this is what you use to tighten the bow hair. You always tighten it to the proper, you know, what feels good for you, proper for you and your violin before you play. And then always before you put this away, you loosen it. You never want to put your bow back in your case with the hair strings very tight. What it will do over time, it will cause the bow to become straight, and then it can cause your strings to loosen, and then you have to replace them. So all of this stuff is very important. It seems pretty basic, but this is how we learn to care for the violin, okay? So now I'm gonna put this back inside of my case here. And let's see, anything else? Right, so we're gonna learn a few strings, okay? So you have your G, D, A, and E. Those are the name of the strings on the violin. Now within those, you're gonna learn a nice way to make beautiful music. So the first two strings that I teach my students is D and A. So D and A. Those are the two strings that we will learn first, all right? And so a way that we first learn to play the violin, we will not use the bow right away. I know, but that is so important for you to learn proper positioning and learn a lot of the basics, because adding the bow can just make it all crazy right away, okay? So we're gonna pluck D. So you're gonna hold it like the guitar, as you see, right? And I always say cradle it like a baby. And D, 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 D. Good. Now we're gonna pluck the A. Remember, A is this string. You ready? So that, my friend, you pluck the D string and the A string. Now trust me, as the time goes on, you will do more than just open D and open A. There will be so many fun things that you will learn and get to play. And I look forward to this wonderful journey, this music journey, and teaching you the beautiful crafts and arts of the violin.